Hey y'all, my name is Angelica Rubio, State Representative for District 35 here in the city of Las Cruces, and this is just an update. So a lot of people are waking up to the news today that the Supreme Court made a decision on this birthright citizenship that we've been talking about since the current president became president the first time. And if you're confused, that's valid. Birthright citizenship is can be a little confusing, especially when it comes to legal language. It's dense, it's hard to follow. It almost feels like it's meant to make regular people tune out, and this is what we're experiencing right now, is just making it so that people are just so confused they're not paying attention. But I need you to pay attention to this. Let me break it down to you as if I'm talking to like my own friends or family. So Trump has tried to push a rule that says that not every baby that is born in the United States has the privilege to be a United States citizen, depending on the status of their immigrant parents. For context, that's against everything we've ever been taught as people living in this country. We've always believed that if you were born here in the United States, and it's not even believed, like it's in the 14th Amendment, it's very, very clear that it says that if you are born in the United States, you are a U.S. citizen. Like, we've always known that. It's been something that's been around for over 100 years. Like, it is the law of the land, especially for those of you who love the law. It's been the law of the land for over 100 years. And so when Trump started to initiate this birthright citizenship by taking it away from us, you had a lot of organizations who started to sue and challenge this rule. And so in the past, the courts have stopped from this birthright rule that the administration pursued. Like, the courts had been stopping it and not letting it go into effect. Not just for the families who were suing, but for everyone. So usually what happens is when there's a case in front of a court and the court rules on it, it impacts all of us, not just the people that did the suing. That's called a universal injunction. And so it's something that we've been able to utilize as a tool over the course of the last few years to make sure that bad things don't happen for all of us. It's like the court hitting pause on something. And so there was a pause on this birthright citizenship stuff that the president was trying to do. But today, the Supreme Court ruled that judges can't do that anymore. They can't block a harmful policy for the whole country. They can only block it for the people who did the suing. This means that if this policy ever gets enforced again, it might not be stopped right away unless a bunch of families file this lawsuit across the country, which takes time, money, lawyers, and in the meantime, a ton of families get hurt. So no, birthright citizenship has not been taken away yet. Right now, what this means is that families are just a little bit more vulnerable. A lot of the families, especially immigrant families, are going to be left to protect themselves, mostly on their own. And so this is where we come in as community. And this is what I've been talking about in terms of, like, we need to build this community, is that if you know a family with US born kids, maybe their parents are undocumented or they're on visas, but if you know that they have US born kids, make sure that they've got their paperwork in order. Make sure that they have the original birth certificate, have them apply for passports, make copies, keep them in a really safe place. That's something that we can do right now, is helping families who are likely going to be impacted by this. Because if these policies do become like the law of the land, and they might, we don't want to be left scrambling later on. Second, I mentioned that it's going to be costly, and so for families, and a lot of people are going to have to get lawyers and things like that. So I really would like, for those of you who maybe have access to money and can afford it, that you please support organizations like the ACLU, or any of your local immigrant rights organizations in your community or across your state. Whatever's close to your community, send the money if you can. Even a small donation, $10 a month for 12 months, it can make a really huge difference for organizations doing a lot of this work, especially as the fight for we're probably going to have to go to court a lot. And so a lot of our families need this type of support. I know not everybody can give money. I know things are tight right now. People are losing their jobs. People are having a hard time finding work. That is real. I personally am experiencing a lot of uncertainty within my own job. And so I get it. But if you don't have money, maybe you do have time, or you have language skills, or you just have the ability to sit with someone, be very, very patient, and help them fill out paperwork. That's just as valuable. And so it might even matter to someone. And so ask your neighbors, ask around, and see where you can be helpful. Let's just not always assume that someone else is going to take care of it. I feel like this is the opportunity for us to be able to step in and say, look, these are the skills that I have. This is how I can help. And lastly, y'all, and then just this is a reminder, like, we're the only ones we've got. The people around you, your neighbors, your tias, like your coworkers, your friends, they're our safety net. And we're the only ones who are going to show up because our systems are likely not going to show up for us. I know that we can't always stop harmful policies like this one. We can't stop them from being written, but I think the thing that we can do is just to show up, and to show up early and authentically. We can prepare. We can make sure that nobody falls through the cracks just because they didn't know what was happening. Like, let's make sure people know what's going on. That's what community is. That's what we need right now. So yeah, it's complicated, but we don't need to understand every single legal word to understand what's at stake. And what's at stake is our kids, our families, our right to belong. So slow down, take this in, and then just ask yourself, like, who around me might need help? Who needs help to get their stuff in order? That's how we need to move forward. And again, things are going to continue to change, to shift, to move, and we just got to do our best to help our communities, especially those of us who have the privilege to live and breathe here. Like, let's help the families who can't. Stay safe, y'all.